listening to
Hey, me, no mind.
with show host Wood.
What's going on, listeners? Great to be back. Look, it's a lot of stuff going on, and I've been trying to prepare several different shows on a bunch of different topics, and they kept falling through, so I couldn't post like I wanted to, couldn't get into some of the topics that I wanted to shed some light on. So, I just missed the opening week of college football. Tomorrow night, the NFL jumps off. Last night, some of you may have taken in Serena versus Venus and her bid for the tennis Grand Slam. So I just had to get on. And I got a guest today, which is family, One Take Podcast Nation. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get into that. We talk about a lot of stuff, but I'll break it down on the on our interview. So, hey, thanks for rocking with Pay Me No Mind. This is your host Wood, and check back with you here shortly.
I'd like to welcome B Meeks to the show. What's going on, man?
Hey man, it's about damn time.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the explicit tag on here, so you can feel free to make yourself at home. Yeah. And for those that don't know, B Meeks is the host of Agree to Disagree, one of my favorite podcasts that I check out on a regular basis. He was graceful enough to invite me to join the family, and I've been at it for a couple of months now, and ever since coming aboard, me and B Meeks have been engaged in a bit of a ratings race.
One thing I have noticed though, that I am like almost the only explicit show on this channel. That's crazy.
Hey, you got to be number one in something, right?
Yeah, I don't know, cause I don't know. The way I look at podcasting is like I'm just even though I'm in a room by myself recording it, it's like I'm just chopping it up with my friends. And like when you kicking it with your people, you know how you are.
Right. Hey, like I said, I'm not trying to inhibit you and put you in a box. I want you to be B Meeks in all your stunning glory. So let's get into it real quick, man. I got about five topics for us to get through. I'm gonna hit on a little tennis. I know that's not you kind of a NFL is king guy with some basketball mixed in. So, but current event wise, you've been on me about my timing as far as getting shows up with related to something to help with the listeners and all that. So we're gonna hit on a little bit of tennis, really briefly. Then we're gonna touch on some college football with the University of Wisconsin, the Badgers. And for those that know, B Meeks represents Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm in Dayton, Ohio, about an hour west of Columbus. So we're going to touch on some Big Ten football, the Buckeyes. Then we'll also get into some NFL football. B Meeks, the Green Bay Packers is actually one of the kind of like my secondary teams that I keep an eye out on. Reggie White was there back in the day, and that was one of the first Reggies that I ever heard of outside of myself, with the exception of New York Yankee great Reggie Jackson. So I've been following Green Bay for a minute, and it's one of the interesting storylines this upcoming season. And then lastly, we're going to close out with a little bit of take on this Mayweather-Berto fight that's coming up Saturday that apparently isn't doing too well as far as its the national support for it. So we won't spend a lot of time on that. But again, I just wanted to get B Meeks on the show. Months ago, as I was ending my previous situation, he was nice enough to find me out there in the Twitter sphere and invite me on his show, and that kind of kicked off our relationship, man. So thanks a lot for linking up with me.
Hey man, I don't know how the hell I found you, but I found you and it's working great. So that's all I can ask.
Yeah, that was interesting because my previous situation we hadn't really gotten it to the level to be really it wasn't the easiest to find us the way that we were set up. So here anyway, pay me no mind is going on with One Take Podcast Nation, and we're getting ready to get into it, man. So I know you. You know, I follow your tweets and I follow your shows that you do. And I know you pretty much a meat and potatoes steak guy with the NFL. But last night, the Williams sisters kind of brought the attention of the sports world to New York City, and Venus and Serena squared off. I'm an older sibling myself, so I was pulling for Venus. It didn't work out for her. She fell to Serena 6-2, 1-6, and 6-3. Actually, Venus won that middle set 6-1. So she did have a highlight, but once it got to that last set, Serena kicked it into another gear that just most of her competition can't get to.
Well,
So my only real question to you was, do you think that Serena can finish off this Grand Slam that she's pursuing?
okay, well, let me. I hate to flip it on you. I know it's your show, but can I ask you a question with a question? Because, of course, I'm not the biggest tennis fan, but everybody know Serena ass from anywhere in the world.
I agree.
And I honestly, I heard the event was star-studded. Like, you had Top Dog out there from Kendrick Lamar label, and it got a little hood out there.
Right.
Who are the top three women in tennis? Just so I can know. Is it
Man, you gonna put me on the spot, man. I don't know the game that well. I think the number two female, I think, is Halep, and I think she played earlier tonight, and I think she did win. But honestly, man, I don't know a lot of them. I do know Azarenka, obviously Venus. I know a couple of females here and there. Ivanovic, I think, is one. You know, the sport is kind of a niche sport at this point, so I really couldn't tell you it like that. I just tune in, you know, such on the big events, such as last night's showdown.
is tennis big? Cause like, do they have like time on the NBC? Like where do you even find tennis at?
There is a tennis network. And then also, yeah, there is a tennis network, and then also, ESPN pretty much covers all of the majors. You know, the U.S. Open, Wimbledon, the French Open, and then the Australian Open. But tennis actually makes it on the TV a lot more than people would think.
Okay, so just run this by me one more time. Who's in the championship?
It's not quite there yet.
Oh, what's the next match? What was the question? Let's go back to that.
Man, I didn't brought Meeks on here. So my question just to you was, Venus is trying to win all of the majors in one calendar year, similar to when the Triple Crown in baseball, but you're not a baseball fan. But there's the Grand Slam in the golf game with the four majors in that sport. But it hasn't been done in a long time. I don't know the number of years, but basically Serena is trying to hold all of the major titles in the sport in one calendar year. Jordan Spieth tried to do it on the golf side earlier this year and missed and didn't complete it. But the horse, American Pharoah, won the Triple Crown in horse racing. So do you think Serena can get it done? Yes or no?
I mean,
she only has two more matches left.
I mean, well, before she conquers this accomplishment.
Yeah, if she wins the next two matches, she will hold all four of the major titles in 1 year.
Oh man, well, if you only got two games down to go, it's pretty makeable. It's not like we halfway through the season and asking this. We like 2 games away. We to speak from a football analogy, the Patriots are 14-0 right now. Can they go 16-0? So even, you know what? I hate to be so politically incorrect, but I will. I would want her to win for the same reason I wanted Obama to win, and I'm not gonna even touch on that anymore.
It was several comics that had that joke when he did win, so I'm pretty familiar with what you're talking about. But even that, man, I believe she's the last American, so you can come from that perspective that you just want the USA to win.
But they've been in the game so long, and they've been, I mean, I don't watch tennis, but I know they the man when it comes to that sport. And I would think something like this, they would have been accomplished in their career, at least one of them. So it's kind of shocking to learn that it's still things that they still got goals out there to conquer. So I see why they're still driven.
Well, I believe, I don't know what year it was, but I believe Serena actually held all 4 of the titles, but they weren't in one calendar year. She had won like 2 or 3 in one year, and then the next year she won another major. And, you know, she had all 4 titles at once, but it just wasn't in that same calendar year. So, you know, if you do follow these individual sports, they just have little things, you know, little challenges out there like that to kind of add to the following of the game. But let me ask you a question, though, man. Speaking on your Obama comment, I'm sure you're familiar with the saying that if you want to hide something from a person, you can put it in a book, right? Have you heard that saying?
Yes, I have.
I'm looking at these 2 sisters last night, and I'm just amazed. I have to really praise and credit the father, Richard Williams, for what he did, you know, 30-some years ago or 20-some years ago when he put these 2 young ladies on a court in Compton, California, and groomed them into what they are today. And it's just shocking me that a lot of brothers are sitting out here chasing, you know, getting rich and fame and blah, blah, blah. But here it is. Richard Williams left a blueprint out there, and yet not many people are really following the blueprint that he laid out. And so I'm going to ask you this. Would you prefer your daughter to maybe try to pursue a track career in U.S. track or at the collegiate ranks? Or would you try to put some time in with them and maybe put them down this road of tennis, where these 2 sisters are multimillionaires as a result of dominating this game?
Okay, see, I'm gonna tell you a little something about me. I'm a very realistic person. Like what ifs I'm like not a big fan of. So, because I got 3 kids, I actually got 2 daughters now. When I think about what he did and laying down the groundwork for his daughters, now you can have all the drive in the world, but the catch is you still got to be blessed with some type of skill and God gifted ability. Now let me just say this: my kid's clumsy as hell. So. Honestly, like the route I would want any child to go is school. Like my advice to my kids is get your high school diploma, at least get a 2-year degree. That's the goal. Bottom line, that should be nothing minimum than that. But I also got a friend who has a 10-year-old son who is in the top 5 in gymnastics when it comes to the state of Wisconsin. And I was talking to him, and he's like, man, if this work out for him, man, we talking about forget school. So when it comes to sports, it's just a God gifted ability. So I believe it's just something different about them that sets them apart from any other Compton kid, even if they did try tennis or whatsoever.
That's a good point. I'm just I'm just thinking outside of the box. I'll just say that, you know, with anything, I feel like if you get your kids involved early enough and you work at it with them, anything is